In the next 4 days, Oswald worked frantically at his newfound goal, to get a Soviet visa. He flew to Helsinki, where the visa was granted, and he entered Russia on the 15th of the month. He was in his glory. Mr. One had assured him that if he could convince the authorities that he was a sincere defector and wanted Russian citizenship, high adventure lay ahead of him. Mr. One's analysis of Oswald was accurate. He was intrigue-prone and constantly yearning to play a role of some importance that the world would have to applaud, or at least take notice of. That's from Chapter 9, Oswald Works Towards a Goal. In Mind Control, Oswald and JFK, Were We Controlled, by Ken Thomas and Lincoln Lawrence. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. While we're all still focusing on the tragic shooting in Arizona of Gabriel Giffords by an apparent lone nut, much like Lee Harvey Oswald, who ranted about mind control and had an extended clip on his weapon, which allowed him to have such devastating effect at that rally, supposedly. I wanted to take a minute to point out that there are other things of vast import to consider that are potential problems here in the future for our country. Most notably, of course, is the fact that guns now are going to be a focus once again. Immigration is going to be a focus once again. And anti-government activity of people in this country is going to be the focus again. So expect action in all of these areas. But also remember that there is something even bigger and worse going on behind the scenes in the political realm, and that is the fact that the banksters, the robbers, the thieves, and the fucking crooks who are behind the system in this country are continuing their profligate ways, while states within the United States are struggling and teetering on bankruptcy, and they are targeting Social Security, Medicare, and other programs for people in this country in need. And people in this country, in the case of Social Security and Medicare, who have paid in their entire fucking lives into a system to ensure their health and fucking financial security in their old age. So, I want to point out a couple things to you. Number one, the supposed grand old party, the supposed right wing, the supposed Republicans, stated as their mission and goal for the repeal of the healthcare reform law that was passed, which is widely unpopular in some circles, which I think is disastrous because it is a mandated bailout of private insurance companies by forcing American people to pay them money for crappy policies. The only answer to healthcare reform is single payer, but of course, the GOP and the Democrats, both being Wall Street-controlled puppets and in the pay of the private insurance industry, will not touch the issue. But the point of the matter is, they wanted to take on overturning healthcare reform because why? Because supposedly they are listening to their constituents. They're listening to the American people. They're supposedly doing what the fucking American people want. I have news for you, motherfuckers! If you really want to do what the American people want, then why don't you look at recent polls which show that the majority of Americans want the fucking rich to pay for the budget deficit. And the last thing on their fucking list for balancing the budget and trying to get the financial situation in this country under control is Social Security and or Medicare. Tax the fucking rich. And I'm not talking about $250,000 a year rich. I'm talking about the hedge fund motherfuckers. The corporate destroyers. I'm talking about the big rich. The really rich. The super fucking rich. Who look at you like you're a fucking ant. To be crushed beneath the wheels of their money-generating greed fucking machine. So if you really want to do what the people in this country want to be done, then tax the motherfucking rich. And come up with a fucking plan for health care reform that doesn't rake the American people over the fucking coals of private insurance companies to pay exorbitant rates for fucking shitty policies and force them to do it to boot. And while you're at it, why don't we look at something that doesn't get any news at all? The recent sort of mini audit ordered of the Federal Reserve revealed, well, they admitted to, paying out over 12 trillion fucking dollars. Much of which went to foreign fucking central banks. And to privately held fucking companies. And yet, Ben Bernanke goes before the Senate and the shitty fucking senator has the fucking gall and nerve to say that I can't support, my constituents won't support the idea of bailing out people who are profligate. Well then why did you bail out the motherfucking banks and the insurance companies, motherfucker? Because the topic came up of the Fed financing the states of the United States. Well, the Fed supposedly is a United States bank. It's supposedly there for the benefit of the United States of America. That is the United States of America. So if they can give $12 trillion that they admit to private corporations and fucking foreign banks, why can't they balance the budgets in all of the states that are struggling? Why can't they fund fucking Social Security into the distant motherfucking future? Why can't they fully fund Medicare and provide it for everyone as a single payer solution with decent, acceptable rates for doctors and hospitals? Why can't they fund infrastructure repair in this country? Why can't they directly give loans to fucking businesses to hire and fucking expand and build manufacturing plants in this country? And yet Ben Bernanke says, well, I don't think that we could see our way clear to doing anything for the states. What? Motherfucker? You give money to Credit fucking Suisse? And you can't do a fucking thing for the states in this country? This is a huge fucking thing. And if people were really looking at this and really asked themselves the question, what does this really say? You would have some very fucking surprising answers. So please take a minute to look at the financial issue in this country, because it is going to be blown over for quite some time now by all of this other stuff in the news. But it is so vastly important for you to grasp what is really at stake. Thank you. Good night.